Okay, guys, let's check out Module 00107, Basic Communication Skills in the NCCER Core Curriculum. This will be Section 1.0.0, Communication. These are some trade terms that you should read over and become familiar with for this chapter. Essential communication skills are things such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It says workers must hear instructions clearly and know how to respond to certain sounds. Speaking allows experienced workers to train others and share essential information. Reading, personnel must be able to read and interpret drawings, specifications, and manufacturer's documentation. And leadership positions come with higher expectations of a worker's writing skills. In the communication process, it says the communication channel can be an audible, spoken, or written event. Either way, there is a sender and one or more receivers involved. Noise can interfere with and sometimes possibly stop communication at any point in this process. And we have the sender that's sending out a message, that's giving instructions, giving a presentation. They're going to choose a channel, audible, visual, written. They're going to send out the message to the receiver, which is going to be you. And a big place that this process usually breaks down is right here on feedback. When you don't understand things or you need to know more information, you need to continue the process and ask for feedback from the sender to make sure that the communication that's coming from them is clear. And in nonverbal communication, things such as grooming, dress, condition of your personal environment, use of time, facial expressions, postures, and gestures, physical distance from a person. It says people can normally, non-verbally, or intentionally or unintentionally communicate through these methods. Listening and speaking skills are required to learn and teach. For example, learning and teaching on the job takes place when giving or taking instructions, offering or listening to presentations, participating in team discussions, talking with coworkers and supervisors, and even talking with clients. Active listening on the job. It says active listening requires effort and concentration. And a lot of people think that it just happens naturally, but that's passive listening. Active listening requires effort and concentration, but is an extremely valuable skill to develop. Your body language, nonverbal communication, can send a message to a speaker. It says think about what nonverbal message you are sending the next time you are the listener. And ways to be an effective speaker: think about what you want to say, but not while listening. When you're speaking, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Organize your ideas as logically as possible. Speak at the appropriate place and time. Encourage note-taking, and don't over-explain things. Speak clearly and maintain eye contact. Do not communicate with others while talking to someone else. Be certain all listeners understand the jargon or terms that you are using. Provide times for questions and offer clear answers. Ask if the listener understands. When placing telephone calls, do not allow phone calls in or out to distract you from the job at hand. Wait for a designated break. Do not operate telephones and similar devices at a time it can pose a safety hazard, such as while driving or operating power tools. Be aware of all company and/or job site policies regarding telephone use. Telephone cameras represent a serious threat to a company's intellectual property, and we must respect that. When placing a call, identify yourself first, and then politely ask the caller to identify themselves. Speak clearly and explain the purpose of your call, and take notes as necessary. Keep voicemails brief, and have a clear message prepared for recording before you make the call. Leave your contact number and the best time of day to call back. Speak the number slowly and clearly, and then repeat for clarity. When receiving a telephone call, identify your company and yourself clearly when you first accept the call. Do not place any caller on hold for very long. Transfer calls politely and let the recipient know who is calling. Then keep calls brief, and it is best to hold telephone conversations in a private location rather than in front of others. and some review questions for this section. It says that which of these is an example of communication noise? The receiver does not get to the point. The sender is not specific. The sender has poor listening skills. The receiver uses jargon. I'm going to say the sender is not specific. All of these are barriers to listening except emotion, boredom, distractions, or posture. Say posture. All right. It is considered rude and unprofessional to talk on the phone in front of coworkers, supervisors, and or customers. True or false? I'm going to say true. All right. All of these are examples of nonverbal communication except grooming, use of time, jargon, or facial expressions. And I'm going to say jargon. All right. Blank listening is a process that involves respecting others, listening to what is being said, and understanding what is being said. Would that be active listening, body language, or the communication process, or good listening? I'm going to say active listening. All right, guys, that's it for that section. I'll see you in the next section, which will be 2.00, reading and writing.